Hi there, it's your Aussie writing mentor Jim Parsons, back with lesson 6. I'm surviving, I hope you are, and I hope you're getting something out of these lessons. Now don't forget, in lesson 3 I offered you a quick and easy writing competition to enter. If you haven't done so, you've still got till the 30th of June, so get an answer in there quickly. Last week, I talked about creating a character and placing that character in the status quo at the start of the novel. Now it's time to make something happen to that character, something that is going to carry the plot and keep your readers intrigued for 300 or 400 pages. And that something is the inciting incident. Let's jump straight into this one. Okay, let's look at this inciting incident, this absolutely essential element in a plot. If your story hasn't got an inciting incident, you have not written a novel. I want you to take particular note that it is singular, one incident. It's not a chain of events. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. Here's a chain of events. Mary's uncle died. She inherited 500,000. She went to Paris, and while in Paris met Jean-Paul, the love of her life. It's merely a string of events. Take a good look. There's no clear inciting incident. At what point was she incited to do anything? It just happened. She didn't form a goal. She didn't suddenly develop a burning goal or go on a quest. Now, we can force an inciting incident to emerge. For example, if you show in her opening status quo that our Mary has always hankered wistfully to marry a hunky, romantic ooh-la-la Frenchman, then when she comes into this 500,000, she makes a decision. Damn it, I'm gonna get me a Frenchman. Then that inheritance does become an inciting incident. I want you all to also to be aware that just one character in one specific status quo can generate dozens of different potential inciting incidents. Your potential book has a potential dozen starting points. Remember, it only becomes an inciting incident if the character is incited by that event to do something that will set the plot rolling. The inciting incident needs to embark this character on a life-changing course, a life-changing mission even. And even when you settle on an inciting incident, there can be dozens, as I said, but when you settle on one inciting incident, your job's not done then. There's still more decisions, because one incident can incite a whole range of potential goals or quests. And I'm going to really explore this because I want you to fully understand that there's not just one story in a situation, there are a dozen. And I want you to note throughout my emphasis on potential. So let's have a go at this. Let's start off with a character and give him a status quo. And our character is a fella called Damien. He's 25, he's out of work, he's broke, he's about to be evicted from his apartment or flat. Okay, what sort of status quo is it? Is it positive, negative, or neutral? It's clearly negative. Poor fella. So that's our character, that's our status quo. Now, what sort of things can we dream up from this status quo that could be an inciting incident? Well, what about if he sees a strange job advertisement and he applies for it? He jolly well might if he's broken out of work. What about this one? He's desperate. He talks to his best mate about robbing a bank. Totally different scenario, full of all sorts of different possibilities. How about if he meets an old man with a long white beard who offers him a magic money-making potion? This one seems quite pedestrian and very common sense. What if he takes in a flatmate to help with the rent? Oh my goodness, how many different things could emerge from that? What about if he puts an ad in the paper offering himself as a discreet male escort? Or what about you come up with an idea? Come on, pause the video. It's your turn. What's something else that could be a potential inciting incident for Damien? This is the easy part because you see you don't have to follow it through and figure out a plot and work out what happens next. Let's move on. This time I want to explore just a couple of potential inciting it. Let's tackle this one, that he sees a strange job advertisement and applies. He doesn't get the job. Oh, it was never an inciting incident then. Dead end. What about this best mate talks to his best mate about robbing the bank? Boy, that's got potential. His mate tells him he's a flippin' idiot, so that's not an inciting incident either. So let's turn them into a true inciting incident this time. Here's that strange job advertisement that he applies for. Now we want to make it an inciting incident. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what does it incite him to do? What sort of a quest, what sort of a goal does he form? Here's my first possibility. He discovers that the address is phony. So we realise that this is a coded message for someone. At that point, it's still not an inciting incident. It's just a discovery. This is the inciting incident. He is determined to find out what is going on. Does this make sense to you? Now it's an inciting incident. But is it the only inciting incident? Of course not. Here's a different opportunity. So he gets this job. It's a warehousing job, well within his skills. But he starts to wonder why there's such a high level of security and secrecy about the work he's doing. Just what is he handling and for whom? Inciting incident. He is determined. So you can see he could be treading a pathway that changes his life forever, maybe even puts his life under threat. Then we have an inciting incident, don't we? Let's try one more. He finds a hidden doorway in a corridor, long corridor, lit by flickering candles. He can't see to the other end. Good, he shuts the door. End of story. No. He plucks up the courage, steps into the corridor to find out where it leads. Dun-dun. It's inciting incident. His whole life is going to change. We know it. Over to you. You think of some more. Well, all of those possibilities that can happen to this poor guy who's a bit down on his luck. Which one of those would you choose to write or read? Can you think of a better one? Go right ahead. In fact, there's absolutely no reason why you can't take one of those potential situations that I've dreamt up there and develop them into a novel. There's no copyright on ideas. Even if 3 of you out there took the same situation, the same inciting incident, and wrote a novel, if they were all published on the same day, no one would credit that they came from the same source idea because they will all be totally different. Okay, before we leave this whole idea of the inciting incident, I want to do one more run with the character that I dreamt up last week. Do you remember Rebecca, the Anglican minister? Now, Damien was in a negative status quo, so I'd like to put Rebecca in a positive one. So just to recap on what positive was for Rebecca, she's an Anglican minister. She's doing really well in her parish. Everybody loves her. She's a very good administrator. There's a chance that she may be a new female bishop. And her husband is supportive, and as well as that, she's got lots of leisure activities, including the fact that she's quite a good artist. So that's a pretty positive scenario for our character, Rebecca. Let's see what we can dream up as potential inciting incidents for our Rebecca. Here she is, dear Rebecca, that upwardly mobile Anglican priest. Well, what can we dream up for Rebecca? I'm going to limit this to 3. Let's say Rebecca wins a prestigious art prize. And the prize is a year in Paris at l'École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts. And they're even throwing in a garret to live in. Now, she has never travelled overseas, and Paris is the dream place for her. So this could well be an inciting incident. If she acts on it, it will change her life in some way. Let's look at a different one. This is a little darker. The first to have a positive spin. This one's, well, it could be good, could be bad. A man turns up and declares she is his birth mother. And it seems plausible to Rebecca because she had been a rebellious teen and in fact had a child at age 15, which was given up for adoption. Now, the unfortunate thing is she's never told her husband, and she fears the parish itself will be unsympathetic, even scandalised. What will Rebecca do? That becomes the inciting incident. Third and final one, you remember Mike, her kind, supportive husband? Well, her supportive, kind but antisocial husband Mike usually keeps his office door locked. One day, Rebecca stumbles on why this is. Mike participates in, perhaps even runs, a child pornography website. The online photos she finds horrify her. She is morally obliged to go to the police, isn't she? Well, I hope you'll agree with me that those three scenarios could all make excellent novels if Rebecca acts on one of them. Which do you like best? Which would you like to develop into a novel? And you're very welcome to. Now, of course, I'm going to go on and work my way through these and show you at least three possible inciting incidents. They're not inciting incidents until she acts. So let's choose a course of action and turn them into inciting incidents. Before I do it, why don't you pause the video? Make this interactive. Pause the video, sit down, pick one or more that you like, and come up with at least one possible course of action, a decision that she makes, a goal that she forms, a quest that Rebecca goes on, because that's the only thing that's going to sustain a story right through an entire book. Now, have you given some thought to how Rebecca might respond to winning a year of study at a prestigious art school in Paris? I have come up with three ideas. See if they match yours. She takes it. She feels that God is telling her something. She needs to find out what it is. So she goes on a quest to find what it is God wants from her. Now, I followed this one through much further than I should have. I've almost got the plot written. A wonderful supportive husband sells up and goes too. They have a romantic year together, finding their old passionate selves in Paris. She returns a less ambitious person and takes a smaller role in the church, leaving more time for husband and a new grandchild born while she was away. So that's one possible scenario. I'm not expecting you to take it through to a conclusion. Just find what she decides to do and let the chances fall as they will. Here's a second idea. Again, she decides to take it, to do something for herself for once instead of God and the parish. She has a fight with her husband who feels she's throwing away a lifetime of hard work while he has put his life on hold for her. She has a fight with her bishop who tells her to act maturely. The parish will fall to bits in her absence, and a woman who acts on whimsy will certainly not be considered as bishop material. So she realises her life has been devoted to others and she must find herself. It's a late life crisis, if nothing else. She will prove to them that her life belongs to her alone. Well, that's a pretty big goal to take on at 50, isn't it? And the third one goes quite counter to what you would expect. She denies herself the opportunity. Within the year, the church overlooks her as the next bishop. Her husband leaves her for a younger woman. She starts drinking heavily, resigns, loses her faith, and joins an ashram in India where she finds bliss. I took that one a bit far too. But it just goes to show what sort of things can arise when you do these exercises. Did you have any of those? Bet you didn't think of the ashram. Okay, the second one. This 35-year-old man turns up and declares he is her son. All right. She rejects this. She feels for certain it's a scam and wants to disprove his claim without upsetting her world and family. The reason she thinks it's a scam is she was told that the child she had was a girl, and she was told the name of the adoption agency. So she tries to conceal the facts from her husband, keep her life on an even keel, while she investigates the man's claim, demanding he take a DNA test. Or Rebecca is filled with remorse. Rebecca is filled with remorse for concealing this from her husband and 25-year-old son. She is now free of a burden and thrilled to make contact with this son. She is determined, and this is where the goal comes in, She is determined not to abandon this son twice. She will be mother to him, regardless of what her husband and younger son or the community might think. And the last one, she makes the decision that her current situation and prospects are too precious to risk. She begs the man to maintain privacy, to meet her privately only. Thus, she embarks on a life of lies. And of course, things will definitely go horribly wrong. 3 totally different scenarios there. And the last one, the husband who she's caught out being on a child pornography site. What will she do? Well, she's determined that she must do the morally and legally correct thing, even though she loves the man and sees this as a sickness. He gets a short jail sentence, goes to a psychiatrist for help, and she supports him and stays with him, earning the scorn of her parishioners. Second possibility, it incites her to fight to control the situation to preserve her reputation and career. She demands he close down the site, give her the names of all the other participants, and make a pretense of a marriage that is now over until she can find a way for them to split up without raising eyebrows. So it's a moment of concealment, isn't it? And the last one, she pretends to forgive him and then looks for a way to ensure he has an unfortunate accident. So what a wonderful murder story we've got here. All right, there are the 3 possible inciting incidents for 3 possible scenarios. How about that? It's your turn. It's time you did one of these, I think. Hey, I hope you're getting excited about this. If you are, email me. Let me know that these lessons are of use to you. Helps me. I hope you're excited by the fact that it's so easy to dream up plots. Think of how many we've got just sitting there on the page today, and they're all available to you. Don't feel afraid to take one of those and develop it, or develop your own. It's very easy to do. I leave the idea with you. Just draw a few squares and circles on a page and start filling in ideas the way I did. If you'd prefer a form to fill out, email me and I will send you the form that I use, and I'll also put you on the mailing list for all future YouTube videos as they go up on the net. Here's the email address. Well, that's it for Lesson 6. Come back next week, where in Lesson 7, I'll be taking that inciting incident and pushing it to the next stage, which is the goal or the quest. And we're going to make sure that the goal or quest is good enough to keep the reader enthralled throughout the book. Until then, bye and keep safe.